Hi guys, welcome to my next video. I am outside on my deck on this beautiful day in May. It's cold, way too cold to be May. This, global warming things at MF are, I'm in a coat, I'm in a hat, but there's not a cloud in the sky and there's lots of sunshine in the middle of May in Michigan. So I'm out here just willing spring to come. And the topic of my video today is going to be, sorry, there's a weird shadow on my face, but you guys don't care, I'm sure, is friendships that come from unexpected places, and my takeaway from that and an interesting experience I've had in one of the most, maybe unusual stories in the foundation of this friendship and how it evolved and what I learned for it and what the takeaway is. And maybe you could get something out of it from my perspective. So one of my very, very good friends, I would go as far as to call her, she feels like family, is somebody you wouldn't think I have much in common with, except for the fact that her daughter has the same father as my kids. And we met for the first time. She's a lot younger than I am too. So I'm 34 now. No, I'm 35. I'm 35. I'm getting to the age where I don't know how old I am anymore. But I met her, I was 29, almost 30, and she was 20. And it was about 6 months after I filed for divorce. And our divorce wasn't final yet, but it was fine. I mean, they make you wait a long time to finalize your divorce in Michigan when you have kids. And I was dating other people too. I was dating other people probably within a month. It sounds terrible, but I'm just gonna be real on this channel. I'd been with my ex-husband 10 years, and it was bad for so long that I was just ready to go have fun and hang out with someone who was like nice to me. So, right, cool. So I was dating. I didn't care that he was dating. I didn't hold a grudge that he was dating somebody else. Certainly didn't hold a grudge against her for dating him, even though our divorce wasn't final. I felt a little sorry for her because she didn't know what she was about to get into, but I certainly didn't have a problem with her. And I was still on good terms with a lot of my ex-husband's family members, and one person in particular that I was close to at the time, because she was helping me with the kids quite a bit. I had 3 little kids, and he wasn't helping with the kids. He'd maybe visit them for an hour once a month or something like that, but he was not financially helping with them or visiting. But his stepmother was. She was helping. She was babysitting a lot when I went to work and stuff like that. So she and I were on good terms, and she was good for a while about trying to kind of play mediator and help us meet in the middle with some things, because a lot of the reasons he was struggling, part of the reason he was struggling was because of some addiction issues, which she had a history with, and she had overcome. So she had a lot of like hope and compassion and faith that maybe he could do the same. So she was supporting him a lot, but she also kind of knew he was in the wrong. So she was on good terms with me, and she loved the kids and helped with the kids a lot. So anyway, she was babysitting, and she told me when he started dating her, his new girlfriend, that he was making comments to her about how, he was excited for me to find out because he thought I'd be mad because she's a pretty girl. He thought I'd be mad because she was pretty. He thought I'd be mad because she was so young. Like, Kay's gonna be so mad when she finds out I'm dating this young, pretty girl. So he was kind of trying to pit us against each other in the beginning to, feed his own ego a little bit. He liked the idea of girls fighting over him. He just, he does. And so I kind of knew that was his approach coming into it. And he was so off base. He still hadn't quite figured out that I didn't care at all who he dated. But the first time he was taking the kids somewhere after the divorce, it was November. He was taking them for Thanksgiving at his mom's house. And his mom lived a couple hours away, and he and his girlfriend were going to be taking them. And I just said, that's fine. You can take them for Thanksgiving. But I want to meet your girlfriend if she's going to be starting to spend time with the kids. And he was like, yeah, all right. And so I knew he was going to be trying to get me angry about this situation or upset or whatever. And so I sort of knew this going in. I knew she was young. I knew a lot about him. I knew how he was like manipulative and stuff. So I knew she, number one, wasn't doing anything wrong by dating him. And number two, oh my gosh, the prettiest birds just flew through my yard. They have little yellow tummies and heads. Wow, they're pretty. Sorry guys, squirrel. Squirrel. But so he shows up. So I kind of have in the back of my head that he might be trying to stir the pot a little bit or do things to upset me in regards to her. And I knew she was young and probably being manipulated and blameless and everything. And she had a daughter too. She was a single mom. She was only 20. She was a single mom. She had a daughter when she was 17. And that's what I knew about her. And I also knew that her mother had just died. Her mother, who she had been living with, who helped her babysit her child when she worked, had died like within a couple months previously of me meeting her. So I was definitely ready to approach her with like loving energy and whatnot. But they come over to pick up my kids. And I'm a hairstylist and I do hair and eyebrows and stuff from my house. And Jason doesn't know I didn't mean to say his name, but it's just his first name. My ex-husband didn't know I knew anything about her. So they come in and he thinks I'm going to be upset because she's young and pretty, and he thinks he's coming to like parade her in front of me or whatever. And so he comes in, and the first thing he says to me, he's like, oh, this is my girlfriend. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. We introduce the kids. And he goes, yeah, she wants you to wax her eyebrows. Like, very demanding. First thing he said, like, comes in my house, bringing this girl he thinks I'm going to be mad about, and demands that I wax her eyebrows for her, thinking, he's going to stir the pot or I'm getting angry, or, he's probably telling her that I'm happy to do it, and then I'm going to look like, bitch, my kid's out here now, I can't swear, for saying no or making a scene. And honestly, it takes 2 seconds to wax someone's eye. And of course, he's not going to pay me, but it takes 2 seconds to wax someone's eyebrows. I'm quick, I'm good. And she looked so vulnerable and so sweet. And she just had a very open, vulnerable energy and sweetness to her. It's interesting I say sweet because most people wouldn't have picked up on that, because she is rough around the edges as far as how she expresses herself and her language and her vocabulary. She had a really tough upbringing. But just energetically, I could feel a sweetness and a sincerity to her. And she didn't have a lot, and it would have probably been kind of an expense for her to go get her eyebrows done maybe. So I was like, sure, I'd love to wax her eyebrows. It's so nice to meet you. And my ex-husband kind of was like, yeah, you could tell he didn't love it, that was my reaction. But I waxed her eyebrows, and she was just so open-hearted and sweet. And she's like, it's so nice to meet you. I just want you to know that Jason, my ex-husband's so important to me, and I really want everyone to get along and have a good relationship. And I know it probably doesn't seem fair. She said this. She goes, I know it probably doesn't seem fair that he's spending all this time with my kids and not your kids, but I want you to know I'm going to try really hard to create a good environment for your kids and take care of your kids. And just, she got it like mom to mom. And I was really touched by that. I thought it was very sweet. I was impressed with her. And then that day, so I sent the kids with him to go to Mother's Day at his mother's house. And his mother's different. But she can cook, so I knew they were having a good Thanksgiving dinner. And so, but anyway, she's, like I said, she's different. So I'm at Thanksgiving at my grandma's house, and I get a phone call that Violet, my daughter, got bit by a dog over at my ex-mother-in-law's house on Thanksgiving. So I had to come home, and they were there. And the dog, luckily it wasn't her face, but the dog's canine had just gone through her earlobe, pierced her ear. Because my daughter was only like 1.5 at the time. And she had been toddling around, I guess, and like tripped and startled the dog, and the dog bit her. And my ex-mother-in-law always had dogs and cats and animals, and she was always more more concerned with herself and her animals than my kids or her kids or anybody really. So my friend, my ex-husband's new girlfriend at the time, was in the car crying, and I went in to talk to her because I thought she would think that I thought poorly of her because she had made such a big deal about, thank you for trusting me with your kids, and I'm going to do the best I can, all this. And she was crying, and I just wanted to go in and let her know that, I knew it wasn't her fault, and I didn't blame her in any capacity. And so I went in there to talk to her, and sure enough, she was crying, and that was part of it. And also, it was a little traumatic for her because her daughter had gotten bit by a dog in the face and had some scarring and had to get some plastic surgery, and it was very traumatic for her. And so it was kind of flashbacky for her, I guess. And then she had gotten in a huge fight with my ex-mother-in-law because she jumped up. She was the only one who jumped up to help my daughter, which blows my mind. I won't get into all the negativity with that and the relationships and stuff, but she got up to help my dog. She jumped up and she kicked this dog off my daughter, like kicked him and screamed, kicked him out. And my ex-mother-in-law starts screaming at her, because she hurt her dog. Like, whatever, screw the baby on the floor, get in bed, like, you hurt my dog. And so this poor girl is getting screamed at, meeting her boyfriend's mom for the first time, trying to protect my daughter. And so I just felt so bad for her. So that's how we met. And that was like the first day. And I came to find out later that she had spent a big portion of her childhood in foster care. And she really didn't have too much of a family with like roots. Like the mother that had died, she had been living with her as an adult. I won't get into her business or details with that, but it was, there were still some things going on. And she had made such an effort for my kids. Like, that was the most my ex-husband ever saw the kids, is when he was with her. And I know it was because she would make a point, to try to see him at least once a month. And they moved about an hour away, and we would drive the kids up there, and they'd do like an overnight about once a month. Sometimes it was twice a month, sometimes it'd be 3 months, but it was somewhat consistent. And so Christmas came, and I got her a present, just a little candle. Just a cute little candle, and I had it to be from the kids to give her, because the other thing was I wanted my kids, like, ideally I wanted my kids to feel like they just had this one big happy family, that they were just an extension of our family. They get 2 Christmases with other parts of their family, stuff like that. So I was really trying to nurture that relationship. So I gave them this little candle to give her, and I'll just never forget the look on her face when I handed her a present. She looked shocked, and she looked like she was gonna cry over this little candle. And I could see how much little things meant to her. And, I feel like I understood some things about her in that moment that were unspoken, and I was very touched. And to condense a very long story, they ended up together about 2 or 3 years, and they had a baby together, a little girl, my kid's little sister. She's hilarious. Maybe I'll do a video on funny random shit she says, because she's hilarious. And she's almost 4 now, 3-4-year-olds say funny things. And then he just started treating her the same way he had treated me, and a lot of the same things had happened. And so the relationship, needless to say, fell apart. My kids witnessed some stuff that was upsetting to them too. And, it was a hard time, but she had no family to fall back on, and no finances to fall back on, not a huge skill set to work professionally. And my heart just went out to her and kids, because he screwed her over big time, like with money. He just took off too. He wouldn't watch the kids so she could work or do anything like that. And she had been a dancer, so she was actually making more money than him, but she didn't, number one, she had someone to watch her kids, and number two, she didn't have credit and whatnot, because you're not tracing your income when you're dancing in clubs and stuff. So it was her money, but it was in his name, a lot of the stuff. So he drained their bank account. He left her with no car, no house, behind on 2 months of bills. wouldn't give her money, wouldn't help with nothing. I mean, so she was there with, she lived in a car for a day. She lived in a hotel for a couple days. She was basically homeless. And she'd moved down back by me. So I was just like, I swooped in best I could. I helped her. I babysat her kids so she could work some big long shifts, try to get a down payment for a house. She did find that girl, worked her butt off. I introduced her to some people I knew down here that could help her with some childcare, and they actually ended up being wonderful friends. They're great friends now. She was a stay-at-home mom in the area who was just kind of looking to make a little extra money, but it wasn't anything like the cost of daycare would have been. Plus, daycares don't open off hours for people working in bars. So they ended up being great friends. She got a house. I introduced her to Jason's stepmom. And Jason's stepmother was very helpful to her for a long period of time. Because that was her grandkid too. And we got the kids together a lot. I helped her a little bit financially, but I wasn't in a great financial spot at the time either. But she also, just being so young and not having people support her, she needed someone to believe in her, kind of. She would let things these other girls were saying to her at work really get to her, and she needed someone to let her see how valuable and like worthy and respectable she was. And I was so proud of her because she didn't want to dance anymore. She didn't want to do what she was doing anymore, but she felt like she didn't have any other skill set. She was doing concrete work. She was tough. She was doing hard work, a lot of manual labor. But she's little. She's like 5 feet nothing and little, and it was just too hard on her body, and got to be too much, and she felt like she couldn't get into waitressing or bartending because her social skills weren't polished enough. In her words, she didn't know how to be nice enough to people. Like, because she did come off rough, even though that wasn't a reflection. She had to get tough to survive, and she's a survivor, and she's a fighter, and she is tough, and she's awesome, and she's killed herself for her kids. She's an awesome person, but she was rough. But she's grown, and she has grown socially. She's grown emotionally. She's gotten confidence, and she does bartend and waitress now, and she's in like a healthy relationship, and she was great. She always made my kids feel included with their sister. She never turned her back on my kids. My ex-husband had promised my oldest son he would take him to a football game for his birthday, and my poor kid never learns that dad doesn't do what he says he's going to do. Poor Ed. No matter how many times this guy falls through, my kid still believes him. And Rachel felt so bad that she took him to a Lions game. She got some tickets through someone at work, and she took my son out of anyone else she could have taken. So she's been there for my kids as well. And we get together for holidays. We get the kids together. The girls spend the night at my house, her girls. And we just have such a great... I feel like she's my little sister. Maybe, or maybe... I don't know what I feel like she is. But she's a great, great friend. And both of us are good friends. Our kids love each other. And my ex-husband does not see her kids at all anymore, 0. And he sees my kids. How long has it been now? It's been almost a year. It's May right now, and the last time he saw him was last June. And at this point, he's really doing them a favor by staying away because he's incapable of inconsistency, and he just can't be reasonable and rational when he sees them. And they're adjusted and used to him. It's good. I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying he's kind of out of the picture. But she and I are still really good friends, and our kids are close, and they get to know their siblings and have a sense of family, and that just makes me so happy. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because so many people are so surprised that she and I are good friends, number one, and then number two, when they find out how we know each other, like what the origin of our relationship is. And I just think it's important. There's so many people who meet people and kind of have subconsciously or maybe consciously decided ahead of time that they're not going to be open to that person in their friendship, whether difference in lifestyle, difference in situation, or the relationship outline. I mean, she was my ex-husband's new girlfriend that initially was kind of designed to piss me off. And I mean, we weren't really divorced yet, just me taking my kids, blah, blah, blah. And I was her boyfriend's ex-wife, baby mama. Like, you probably saw my kid. He's been working out a lot during quarantine, likes to show his muscles. But anyways, a lot of people wouldn't have been open to really investing in that type of relationship or let it turn into a friendship. And it's been one of the most rewarding relationships I've had, and a very good friendship, and it's created something beautiful for our children. And so the takeaway from this experience I've had is that be open-minded to stuff like that. Don't rule people out based on outside factors. And that's it, I guess. So you guys have a great day. Thanks.